What's good? What's good, people? How we doing? How we doing today? We back with another episode of Rigged NBA. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, all that good stuff. Man, it's not looking too good for Boston right now. They down 3-1. And Jason Tatum wants to fake an injury out here. Non-contact. No one touched this man. He just went for the ball. All of a sudden, he rolled, and now he's injured. He's a terrible actor, by the way. And on top of that, he had to copy Paul Pierce with the wheelchair, making sure the camera caught him in the tunnel. Like, yeah, Boston done with. Two 20-point blown leads, and now your best player, one of your best players, goes down. They cook like pineapple steak. What's good with you, Kayla? What's up with you, man? What do you people talk about real quick? The life amazing right now. Remember 2 years ago, you got the IT certification exam you failed. You took it again Sunday and passed. Hell yeah, that's what's up. Shout out to Blackbird. Jose, or Josh, should I say. But think about this Knicks versus Nuggets and honor Carmelo Anthony going to the Hall of Fame this year. I don't think they're going to put the Nuggets in there. At this point, it's really looking like more so a Minnesota thing. But I get what you're coming from with that one for sure. I could see Denver maybe getting past OKC. Maybe. But other than that, I don't think so. And they got Westbrook on the team too. Granted, that would be a good storyline for sure. Westbrook chasing a ring. The Nuggets had adversity, firing their head coach that they won the finals with already, and coming back with an interim head coach. But I don't think so. What up, Baker Six? What's good with your coalition? Breezy in the building. What's good with you, man? The Tatum definitely stole. Hell yeah. The NBA is disgustingly rigged this season. I mean, it's more and more noticeable every single year for sure, but I don't think it's anything out of the ordinary, really. I'd say this is probably one of the best rigged playoffs they've had in a while as far as competitiveness goes and making sure the games had a lot of drama. Obviously, we ain't gonna get nothing like we got in 2015. Yeah, I think that ship has sailed. This is probably as close as it's been so far. Yeah, they're a regular season team, man. I was saying that earlier. The Cavaliers are a regular season team. At least the post-LeBron Cavaliers, should I say. What's up, Joey? What's good with you? Chat populating shit. The Minnesota versus Knicks finals is what Caleb said. Yeah, that's what it's looking like. It's going that way. Golden State down by 2 now, so they cook. And besides, we know they done winning championships anyway. At least with Curry, Dre, Steve Kerr. They want Ant-Man to be the face of the league. If they smart, they should do it. They had a chance with Ja Morant, and then the whole gun shit came up. But they could have did it with Ja Morant, Anthony Edwards. They still got a chance for him. As long as he stop getting bitches pregnant, bro. Pull out. They could try it with Luka. They can try. And then of course Giannis is still there too. Granted, he's not necessarily one of the younger guys at this point. Yeah, not to mention he had 42 points. And they made a point to acknowledge that he had 42 points as he was limping off the court or getting helped off the court. Oh no, it's not just you. It's not just you. I've seen the picture with Tatum's dunking, and then Karl-Anthony Towns got the weak wrist and the leg out. Yeah, we know. And he changes his voice. You go with the deep voice sometimes, other times it's the sassy voice. But yeah, for sure. I mean, the nigga calls himself Big Purr. That's not imposing. That's not intimidating. That's not scary. Yeah, he did. And what they gonna say now? He tried to do the Kobe. I think there was another one he did too. I don't know if he tried to do the Klay Thompson. But yeah, it was all unoriginal. And the Celtics finished with 113 points. I agree. This nigga here, man. Blackbird funny as hell. So would the NBA have a dynasty team again, or do I think they're done with that? There's always gonna be a dynasty, I'd say every decade, something like that. But usually it's more of an older team. It's not necessarily a newer team. I think they're gonna be more dynasties. We just won't see them, I guess, as close together. What's up, Mike? That's funny as hell. Said the nigga like a toad. He said, "Boy, you funny as hell, Blackbird." But yeah, this game right here, or this series, really Denver and OKC has been competitive. You obviously had some big bullshit in it too, but it's one of the more exciting series. It's one of the closer series. I figured Minnesota and Golden State would have been a little bit, closer. And then when Steph Curry went down, it was like, oh, this shit over with. This nigga he got a hamstring injury and shit. Jimmy Butler basically got to do this shit himself. So yeah, that series took. Indy put us all out of our misery, knocking out the Cavaliers. And I really expect more from that Boston New York series. At least 7 games. Regardless of the Knicks or the Celtics, at least 7, but yeah, that shit ain't happening. And yeah, he did. Jason Tatum did do the anything is possible. It was the weakest, most unenthused anything is possible I've ever heard. Will OKC make it to the finals this year? I don't think they do. OKC is one of the teams I'm not really sold on. Like, sure, they're good. They can do great in the regular season, win 60 games and shit. I don't see it, man. I see it. If they get past Denver, that's as far as they're going to go. At least this year. What speech did he steal from Kanye? I'm curious. Because Kanye said a lot of shit over the years, over the decades. Said it been underwhelming. I ain't really had a problem with the playoffs so far. I mean, most of the teams I don't care to see, they've been out of it. The Cavs, obviously the Lakers. Who else? The Bucks, certain teams like that, they got that out the way. Other than that, I can't really complain too much. I've definitely seen way worse. Are you ready for NFL at this point? Yeah, I ain't really losing no sleep over the NFL right now. Like, I don't know, I'm not in that football mode just yet. Even though they had the draft and all that stuff, I ain't in that mode just yet. So I mean, shit, people already glazing players over fucking rookie minicamp. Shador had a check down pass. Look at the accuracy. Nigga, he was 3 yards away. What are we doing? I think he done. I think Giannis is done. Because, for years they kind of tease him going to Golden State. That's been one of the biggest things before he signed that contract after they won the finals. And now he's linked to the Lakers, so they say. They've also mentioned, I think D mentioned this, that there is I think he bought a house in New York or something like that, an apartment. Maybe he goes, I don't know, to a New York team that's, fuck no. No one expected Karl-Anthony Towns to be on the Knicks at the start of the year. No one expected Julius Randle to be on the Wolves at the beginning of the year. Anything is possible, and it can happen mid-season, who knows? I get it. Sells a lot of jerseys. trending name. It makes sense. I know you hate Jackson Dart. I'm like, damn, what this man do to you? Yeah, I saw that and I was like, yep, he knows it. When he was on Could Have Been, that's when I really knew. I was like, oh yeah, he definitely knows now. In the NFL, he's funnier than me. Like, y'all would never post this shit if it was any other NFL player or any other position besides quarterback. But now it's a quarterback. If Jalen Hurts on there, they'd be doing it. But that's funny to me. Yeah, if he cool with it, that's what's up. Denver's up 32-29 right now. 10 people left in the game. I expect this shit to go down to the wire like the rest. Smack the shit out that death. Same reason I hate Daniel Jones, why you hate Dart. The nigga ain't even played for y'all yet. Like, give the nigga a chance. I mean, shit. Hell yeah, man. I just said, boop. Oh, well. I smoke it. That look like a travel. It wasn't a trap. That shit look like a travel pit. That camera flipped like LeBron James. I still can't get over that shit when that nigga was on the ground and he did this shit. The nigga was here peeking and shit, trying to check to see. I'm like, bruh, 6'10", damn near 250 pounds. Bro. Come on. You look at point guard and like, come on, bro. What you doing? So you should give him a chance. I mean, that's all you can do, bro. That's all you can do. But no, I'm curious because I know I've seen in the Discord different things for the NBA Finals matchups. I've seen someone say OKC. I've seen people mention obviously Boston ain't looking too hot right now. Knicks, a little bit of Golden State. Who do y'all have going to the finals? Like what matchup? I don't care who won. Noah said it's a weird year in the NBA. It is weird in the sense that now you got the Knicks, Pacers, like teams you usually don't expect to see in the finals, at least in the last 20 years and stuff. Minnesota, Denver was there a couple years ago, obviously. OKC, they haven't been since AD and Russ. And Golden State, we know about them. What up, Bronze? What's good with you, man? What's up with you? Good, LeBron. You say you heard Lamar signed it, could have been record. So you from AZ and the Suns are turning into the Michigan State Spartans. Matt Ishbia, the owner, is basically hiring MSU alumni. It'd be something if they got Tom Izzo too. And then Tom Izzo end up just like Billy Donovan in the NBA. I think they wanted the Celtics to go back to back. People caught on. That's why they had to change things up. I'm not going to go out here and just say they necessarily flipped the script on that one as far as Boston winning it or whatever like that. But the Knicks, it kind of makes sense. Shit. It kind of makes sense. Someone did mention it's been, 24 years since their last appearance in the finals. We know what season we're in, or year. Did I say 2024? Y'all know. And New York's, of course, been in the World Series. They've had a lot of attention. Football's always gonna get attention, but the Jets and fucking Giants, they suck. New York's been the focal point. You know, the Lynx, WNBA, Liberty, WNBA. Could be a copy. Could be a copy. They control the shit out of people because they know don't nobody really watch WNBA like that. Yeah, I saw him on Raising Canaan. Oh, it's funny how the big names on these teams get injured. That's what I'm saying. That's what kind of annoys me about the recent NBA playoffs is the key injuries to star players. 2019 is probably one of the worst. Where Toronto beat the Warriors. Warriors lost Clay, KD. A lot of other teams had injuries that just kind of ruined potentially good series. So I don't like when they do it. Here's my thing: if you're gonna do this, make it like a role player, like someone who's kind of important, but not necessarily like the lead scorer on the team important. Like for Golden State, have Draymond take injury. Leave Curry alone, leave Butler alone, but Draymond, he can fake an injury. So for like Chiefs view, the NBA can't afford it. Well, not me. I definitely don't look at them like the Chiefs. NBA don't really have like a Chiefs-like team right now. The last Kansas City Chiefs type team might be the Golden State Warriors, but that's really about it. And I said, what's the WNBA? Exactly. Yeah, the Celtics and Minnesota, KG, have the first round, and Clippers and Celtics for the start of the playoffs. I'll never trust the Clippers, bro. I don't care. New arena, new uniform. New arena, new uniform, new ownership. I don't give a fuck what it is. I'm not trusting the Clippers. Point blank period. They are like the Chargers. I would never trust that team whatsoever. They could go 82-0. I still would not believe Clippers. You heard me, digging. And it was mic'd up during the NBA Finals to be entertaining. Hell yeah. I'm curious, how often does he get mic'd up? I know some games I've heard him, other games usually somebody else on the team, might be Julius Randle, Naz Reid, or DiVincenzo. I feel like they kind of know he gonna talk a lot of shit. He ain't got a filter. He ain't got a media safe filter like that. So that's just my guess. But that would be entertaining as hell. I know NBC Sports and Jordan returning to basketball for 23 years in LeBron's 23rd season, which is crazy to say out loud. I think it's something there. You reach it. LeBron's done winning rings, bro. That shit is over with. He's at 4 with an asterisk. Nigga got 3, but he's done winning rings. That's why they gave him all this other pointless bullshit. In-season tournament win, playing with his son on the court. Like, he's done. Scoring record is done. The Jordan, aka the Grim Reaper, came back to collect his son. So there are 2 MJs apparently. I've heard this before. There was a story back in, I want to say 2018. It might have been maybe before that. But it was something about Michael Jordan was found unalive in like a hotel room with a heart problem. Didn't make a whole lot of media attention noise, and it kind of just got swept under the rug. And then we started looking at the game and really find shit no more. So I do look at that shit sideways. We all remember when he had the last dance, this nigga's eyes was yellow as all hell. Granted, you can say that's alcohol. Like, you know, MJ like to drink. Well, I think of MJ as a commentator. I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard him call a game as a commentator. That's weird, honestly. I get it. Tom Brady, the GOAT from football, is a commentator, but it makes a little bit more sense. Michael Jordan is weird because it's like, nigga, I'm used to seeing you when I'm watching NASCAR now, bro. I can't see you calling a basketball game, even though you the Jumpman logo and shit. I don't know. It's just weird to me. I'd have to hear it first to actually know what he'd be like as an announcer. I'm good, man. How about yourself? I'm good, and yeah, I second that. I second that right there. I remember he said there's two Trumps too, about the red and the blue tie. Trump. He said Bronny about to take over the league. No, he not. Bronny ain't finna take over no damn league. He gonna be in that motherfucker for a minute, but he ain't gonna take over the league, bro. Yeah. What's up with you, man? How you doing?
My brother, what's up?
Not much, man. Not much. But you thinking of the NBA playoffs so far?
Well, being a Knicks fan is something, but it looks like 1999 slash NBA on NBC all over again.
Yeah, we were just talking about the Michael Jordan being announced for NBC and shit. That is funny you bring that up, but yeah, the biggest thing was that WWE clip. Where it was Halliburton, at least in the East, Halliburton and Jalen Brunson in the ring.
Yeah, and it's weird because I remember that SmackDown, and then since then, Halliburton's been. So they had the Royal Rumble there, obviously, right?
Hold on, you cutting in and out. Your audio cutting in and out.
Can you hear me?
I can barely hear you.
Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Say something.
How do you have the accent for you?
You kind of robotic. A little bit.
Okay. Now I was saying, if you can hear me, that Halliburton was been on like Royal Rumble or something in SmackDown, if you remember.
Yeah, because it was an indie. The Royal Rumble was an indie.
Yeah, so it was one of those things like they've been kind of pushing him forward. He has his own Puma shoes with DX.
Yeah. I ain't know that.
Yeah, look back. DX, Halliburton, like his Puma shoes were inspired by DX.
Bad boys. Yeah. They alright, It's like an LA gear, but it's alright. It's decent looking shoe.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting that he is getting this big push. Sacramento Kings, where he started out from. They made the playoffs last year, didn't make it this year. I think this is their second time being in the conference finals.
Yeah.
Yeah, so very interesting. But Pacers, they're one of those teams they like to throw in there. Probably like every 6 to 10 years they get a little bit of a run.
Yeah, because they did something similar when they went against the Heatles in the playoffs. It was when Roy Hibbert made a name for himself. And of course, Paul George. Who else? George Hill was on that team.
Yeah.
And of course, the one from New York. We can't forget about Lance Stephenson.
Yeah, I forgot about our guy Lance. And they showed him. He's been at a lot of Pacer games lately.
And it's interesting considering he's from New York. So
yeah, and one thing you mentioned in that actually I thought of, even though it's a side note, is how Pacers getting a run also lets Caitlin Clark be on TV.
Because she be at the game, and of course, you play for the Fever. Yeah.
Yeah, and so her being there because she's obviously at a lot of the games, especially now that they're about to start. So it's like,
That is interesting, though. Like, I don't know. What do you think of the Celtics?
I'm sort of shocked that he didn't go back to back, but then there was given some of the circumstances like the new ownership they got, which is weird when you're winning a championship to get new ownership, right? Do you remember that ever happening?
What, where they won a championship after they got new ownership?
Like, so they won. Did they win and then get new ownership?
I think so.
Yeah. Like, who sells after?
Yeah, right after they won championship. Yeah, that was right.
It's like, who sells after they do that, right?
That is suspect as hell.
And then they sold, and then it's like, obviously Jaylen Brown makes more money than everybody you can think of, which is wild. But also, what's wild to me is how they look like. Obviously the Cavs looked like it was going to be them. 60 plus wins, like we talked about earlier today. That the Celtics. So it's like, oh, they're a good number 2 or whatever. They'll just rise up, and then Tatum, like, I don't know, he just whatever the Kobe saw next in him. I don't know whatever happened, but he definitely don't got it. Maybe it'll be in his son. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe Deuce Tatum in about 16 years, he'll be the whatever we wanted Jason to be.
I don't know. I think it's really more so a marketability issue with Jason. He got the look, but he ain't got the personality.
He definitely doesn't have that. Like, whatever it factor, and you would think like Steph has. I mean, even he's kind of nonchalant. He does the chewing thing and all that. Like, Steph feels like more marketable than Jason Tatum does.
Oh yeah, for sure. Steph's involved in a lot more, like, I guess, TV related shit anyway. And I assume that's what he's gonna be doing whenever he retires. He's gonna go in the media or something in some way. Shit, he might be one of them, a sports analyst for the Warriors or some shit. Who knows? Or ESPN.
Yeah, I think Steph seems like he could end up on like one of those NBA shows or whatever.
Or he might do some front office shit.
Yeah.
He might do the ranks.
Yeah, and then you got a guy like Klay Thompson who he'll probably end up being like, well, I don't even want to say what I think will happen to Klay because it's pretty bad, but yeah.
It ain't like life or death.
So I'll allude to it for people who know, and you probably know. So you know what his favorite pastime is, right, Klay?
Yeah.
I just feel like, and hopefully he lives until he's like 90 years old, and we won't have this conversation. But I do just believe that will be the way he goes out, if you know what I'm saying.
So basically, water Kobe.
Yeah, he'll like get in, either it'll be like a boating accident, or he'll be out, sailing away, and never come back. Something like that.
I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not. But every time I see him, like, he has the captain thing, and they did. If you remember, they did a ritual with the hats and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was like,
and it usually like kill people whenever it's like somebody from a trio, a duo or something. It's always the most laid back, chill one that people actually fuck with. For real. Not saying people don't fuck with Steph, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, Takeoff.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was exactly thinking about.
Yeah, it ain't the other two; it's him. Like, and what's weird is like, I wondered if they were gonna, on a side note, like last, like where they're gonna have those guys be like in their 50s doing tours and stuff, but obviously not.
Hell no, ain't nobody fucking with that shit by the time they 50. It's not like Genuine or
Yeah,
some shit. Nah.
yeah. Genuine out here. I mean, it's sad, because I know I'm a little older than you, but like he's. I don't even know how washed he is. He's like Vince Carter washed out here. Like Vince Carter with that, was he with Atlanta last? Right? You remember what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember that shit.
It's like where it's like, God, like if he got a dunk, you're like, ooh. And on the side note,
yeah, you'd be surprised if he actually dunk. Yeah.
And on the side note, that'd probably be LeBron if he wasn't getting tune-ups every like 8 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, getting the more he going to get oil changes. You gotta change your oil every so many months and stuff. You gotta get new tread on your tires and shit. Yeah, you gotta go to Walmart for all that. Apparently, they take way too fucking long. Yeah, I know.
And that's where. And what's crazy is that's where he's at now. Is he's at that point? Because I mean, before and we've known each other for a little bit, of time. Obviously, we've known each other for some years, and it was more subtle. Even as far as older him, it was more subtle years ago, right? But now, like especially the last few years as a Laker, it's like trying to get the tortoise to the finish line. It's like wait, you have to have me. Oh yeah, I'm hurt, and then I'm hurt again, and then I'm hurt again. And I think we talked about it like every March, mysteriously. Everybody can go look this up themselves. He just so happens to be hurt around the same time every year in March Madness.
It's like usually right after the All-Star break too. That'd be another one. He be dunking and shit, doing all his All-Star shit.
Yeah.
Very next game, God forbid they play like a good team. The nigga hurt with something.
Yeah.
I had a foot. Nigga, how'd you have a foot injury when you was jumping from the front line?
Yeah. I need to take. I'll be back in like 2 weeks, 8 days. Like what? Like it's very specific.
Yeah, very calculated. I would say Cavs might really be worse than the 2015 Hawks. That's one of my favorite Atlanta Hawks teams of all time, the 2015 team, but the regular season at least. Shit, part of the playoffs really until they played.
Yeah.
But I never thought that team was gonna go to the finals, bro. Like even back then when I thought it was real, I was like, nah, they're not going. This Cavs team shouldn't have fooled nobody. Who the fuck believing in the Cavs was? I ain't gonna knock on Donovan Mitchell because he's like Jimmy Butler. He got to do fucking everything and shit. But like this team, the best players always be hurt for them in the playoffs. They don't show up in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I mean, even though it's another sport, I'll bring it back. Like I was a little more surprised that they had the Eagles actually win given circumstances because hey. Nick Foles beat Tom Brady, right? And why would you want to diminish that? But on the other end of this, I mean, I guess you could say Saquon and Jalen, it makes up for that. But on the other end with the Cavs, it's like, unless literally LeBron James' offspring and I'm not talking about the ones now, we're talking about the ones 30, 40 years from now. Are they really going to ever diminish what the Cavs did in 2016 by having, and I know it sounds terrible, but as Stephen A would say, Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland and Jared Allen, who looks like he's from 1969. You think they're going to have them ruin that by them going to the finals? Forget winning, just them going would be something.
Yeah, because that would overshadow some shit. Recent.
Yeah. We're not even 10 years into LeBron, who is, by the way, still playing. So there's that too. Like, at least with Brady, at least he's done and in the booth. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hold on. AB said, did Tatum sell his Achilles to the Naughty? No, that nigga just faked the injury.
And I do believe, dang, who was it that had kind of the same injury too? And they showed it like that. It was an Achilles injury. God, You may know who I'm talking about, but whoever it was, like I do, because they showed it like right after it happened. I do feel like
Kobe?
the TV, the way it is now, they're able to show a replay and probably have something doctored up with like maybe some CGI, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, you might be thinking of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that. Yeah, how could I actually read? Yeah, because remember he was I remember in real time he was up, then he went down. Because he was literally like, "What's the next play?" And then they're like, "Yeah, you got to sit down." Like what?
Yeah, because he was standing, and then all of a sudden he just randomly sat for no reason.
Yeah, randomly sat, and then he kept saying, "Yeah, I'm cool," but they're like, "Yeah, I do believe that we're going to bring him back," but like it was just so obvious that they're like, "Yeah, well, we can't do it."
Yeah, the block got too hot for their ass.
And that's the thing now, especially like we'll say, since COVID, is with certain things, they definitely have to go back to them writers and say, what was the second and third best thing we have? Because it's too obvious right now.
Yeah, like AB said, a lot of normies are waking up to the rigged NBA draft. It's sort of mainstream this week. It's hella mainstream. I think a lot of people anyway kind of knew that the NBA draft was rigged, like even before this year.
What's crazy is, as a Knicks fan, and I tell people the easiest way to say to figure out that the NBA is rigged is to literally look at the frozen envelope that the Knicks got in '85 or whatever it was. That's the easiest way to figure out that it was rigged. But forget the stuff now. That's even easier. But like, just go back to that point with the Patrick Ewing stuff. If you've ever watched that.
Yeah, I remember watching. I think it was a 30 for 30 or something covered it before. I think there was. Yeah.
They literally froze the envelope. The dude made sure, because of course, this is, before, computers and all the other stuff. And, just to make sure, dude hit the, thing, hit the envelope on the side to make it, and then puts it, he throws every other one of them in. He hits that one on the side and then flips it over. And then they do the tumble. So when they grab it, because of course it was supposed to be cold too. So just to make sure, he grabs it, makes sure he looks to see it's the bent one, and then hands it over. Just go back and watch. It's like almost insane to watch. Like you're watching them rig it in real time.
That's funny as shit. Makes you wonder
and
how
I'm a
long
Knicks
the
fan.
Jazz gonna be. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder how long are the Jazz gonna be bad then, because they got finesse. Them and the Wizards got finesse like hell. But more so the Jazz.
Yeah. I feel like the Jazz get to like a certain level, and again, they're almost like the Pacers. Literally, where they get to a certain level, then kind of go down, then they get to a certain level with certain players, and they go down. And I think their time will definitely be kind of up and coming as far as to get back good again, at least as far as maybe not like, NBA Finals, but, top 5, in the Western Conference or whatever. Especially, I'll say this to everybody, just know NBA on NBC is going to turn back some stuff.
Like, what things we would have seen. I'm gonna see how to word this. I'm gonna use like a video game reference. So like playing them retro NBA games from back in the day, like on the Super Nintendo. Some of you motherfuckers are too young to know what that is. On like the Super Nintendo and like the Sega Genesis, like that era of basketball, those teams are good. Is that what you get now? Like the Pistons, the Pacers, Bulls? No.
Yeah.
Bulls.
Yeah. Like the Bulls.
No, not the Bulls.
The Bulls will probably be later, but definitely like I suspect no matter what, like the the Knicks to be good for a minute. I think
Pacers.
somewhere, yeah, Knicks, Pacers. I think obviously the Lakers are still up there. I think you could see a run on the Kings again. As far as them getting sort of up there, I think the Jazz will eventually go up there. Um, it'll be interesting to see who Giannis goes to, by the way.
Yeah, somebody asked me earlier in the chat because I know he for the longest time he's been tied to Golden State for years, and they have a way of getting the star player every now and again, even when they bad. D'Angelo Russell, he wasn't trash or nothing, you know. Jimmy Butler, famously Kevin Durant, so they can get some players now. But
Yeah,
Giannis, I don't really know. Of course, they say the Lakers, but to be honest, they just do that shit with any player because easy talking point to bring up LeBron or JJ Redick or just anything Lakers related to keep them relevant. So
yeah, I think with Giannis, like I don't think he'll be a Laker. I could see Golden State, maybe somebody like the Heat.
it was something I saw. Shit, I forgot. I think it might have been IG. It was like a post where it showed Lou Alcindor with Milwaukee, and then him in the Lakers jersey. Obviously, is Kareem. Then they had Giannis in the Milwaukee Bucks jersey. And they had, I think it was a silhouette with the Lakers jersey, just blank with the question mark shit. Trying to like, is the repeating itself? So shit, maybe he do, but the Lakers still gonna be trash. He
Yeah,
can't shoot. LeBron can't shoot. It's Russ with LeBron all over again. Niggas who can't shoot. So
what's ironic is even though I've like Giannis even before like people actually knew who he was, but the one thing, so I used to tell a buddy of mine this a lot, like what I thought would happen is somehow Giannis would become a Knick. Why? Because the Greece population is huge in New York. It's like, I think it's only second to actually being in Greece as far as like population of members or whatever. And so I figured that he could sell a lot of tickets, but ironically, I figured that he would get there. Everybody would have these expectations. Oh man, he's the next, him and say Brunson together and, trade everybody else. And I said, what would happen is he would be a Knick, and then he would have some good, like he would probably have 2 good years as far as actually stat wise or whatever. They get to maybe the Eastern Conference Finals, and that would be it. Like they wouldn't win with him.
Part of me's thinking if they did get him, Karl Anthony Towns wouldn't still be there. And it kind of really be like a downgrade if you think about it.
Yeah.
Obviously on defense, you ain't really losing shit because Giannis good on defense. Shooting, that's what you're going to lose. You're going to lose a shit ton of shooting.
Yeah, like, I mean, Giannis just plays downhill. That's about it. And he doesn't have any kind of real jump shot. I mean, I've always thought he should get like a Jason Kidd type 3. You know what I mean? Just a little spot up corner. I mean, that would definitely have his longevity. I mean, hell, Brook Lopez has one. I mean,
yeah, that nigga can shoot real. But yeah, that's true. He did a jump shot. His brother didn't.
Yeah, his brother didn't. That's why he's out of the league. But
damn. Cactus Jack said, I don't know if y'all remember, but the Lakers Kings 2002 series with Tim Donaghy was rigged for the Lakers, so the Lakers would play the Nets instead of the Kings. Yeah, that's probably one of the most famous rigged series there are.
If y'all go back that whole well, for the most part, that three-peat, I mean, there was a big 3 back then. It was Kobe, Shaq, and whoever the refs were. Because hell, people forget the 2000 series. They did not let the Blazers do anything.
I feel like one of the players from that team talked about that before. on some podcast. I don't remember who it was, but somebody did talk about that.
Yeah, I think I remember somebody kind of mentioned that, and then what was it, McVeigh or whatever his name is, the ref, how he talked about how easy it is to rig against a player.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard him talk about that?
Yeah, because I think they mentioned how they targeted Allen Iverson.
Yes, sir.
They be like, we won't give him calls and shit when he on offense. When he on defense, every little ticky-tack thing, call it.
Yeah, and he said it's going to be a long night for you. He even told him, he was like, yeah, you can't do anything.
Foul ass shit, bro. It's like, yeah, we screwing you over. Just so you know, you can play your heart out. You can play 48 minutes, but yeah, we're gonna screw you over.
Yeah. And what AB's talking about with the corruption, I mean, you gotta figure out, I guess you could say new ways to skin a cat. Like, once you kind of do everything, it's just like I'll say it like this, like RIP to our guy Sabu, by the way. But it's just like Sabu and like Mick Foley. Like, once you do all kinds of crazy stuff over the top, whatever, right? People are bloodthirsty, so they just want more and more and more. And it's just like the leagues. Like, once you rig over the top, you know what I mean? And people are like, man, this was a blatant rigging. Like, even though, of course, it's football compared to basketball, it's just what came in my mind in recent memory. Remember the Saints and Rams?
Yeah.
Like, dude, literally, it's like
two refs, man. Two of them.
It was crazy as I remember having money on the Rams, and I literally looked around because I was at a sports bar and said, like you have to call this, right? They're like, we don't know, like, and the fact that people will say, oh, it's not rigged, like that blatantly, like the man literally like knocked the other guy down before the ball was there. And they're like, yeah, we don't see anything, even though the ball is over here, so everybody and their mom is looking.
And the worst part is you see one ref telling the other ref as the other ref's reaching for their flag, don't call it. That's what makes it even worse.
Hey, yo. Hey, and actually, that made it even funnier. I forgot about that part because he's literally getting probably buzzed by Roger Goodell. Like, hey, brother, we... Like, didn't you see that? Nah, we didn't see anything.
See, what Pia? I don't know what you're talking about. That nigga trip.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. The turf. They need to change out the turf. This turf is ass. They didn't water before the game. That's what the fuck happened. Fell.
Yeah. So these leagues got to figure out new and more ways and more. Obviously you always get a crop of rookies or whatever, but they got to figure out stuff to hey, guess what? That pitch clock, mind you, I work for, one of the places I work is in baseball. So I'm literally there, during games watching. Oh, yeah, you only can throw over to first or second base 2 times a player or whatever. That's it, bat. It's insanity.
Honestly, though, with baseball, I'm not too opposed to the pitch clock shit. Baseball, some of them, especially them Yankees and Red Sox games back in the day, it would take forever because niggas would just be standing on the mound for hours before they throw between each pitch. I'm like, dude, hurry this shit up. The games is 5 fucking hours. So like, come on.
Yeah. Like tonight, it took me a minute. So the Reds game, which is still going on, by the way, and it's 11 o'clock. So it was supposed to start at 6:40. It was a rain delay. Then it was something else. And mind you, it may even go into, it's probably going to go into the extra innings, but they didn't start until 8:30. So, before, there's been times I've been in games where the game was supposed to start at 6:30, 6:40. It doesn't end until midnight or 1 o'clock. Ridiculous. And that's before the pitch count. Like, the pitch count got it down, even with a rain delay, is normally 2 hours, 2.5 hours, because they'd be like, "Hey, roll that beautiful beam footage." You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I think, ironically, that may be the one rule of the new ones that I like. But a lot of the rules, like especially NFL, NBA, they're to be desired. We'll say that much.
I'm glad they never touched college football with the kickoff rules, because that would honestly, the new kickoff, that would just like, besides the playoffs and the NIL and what it's doing, that would really just destroy college football. They start doing that. I don't care if they move the extra point, to be honest, in college, but you would definitely see a shit ton more extra points missed.
Yeah, and what's interesting is, I wouldn't mind it, and I mean it's college, but I wouldn't mind it in college if they moved it back 5 yards. I think 15 is a little excessive because dudes be missing like 2 extra points that are 2 yards away. So I think 5 would make it a little more challenging. It's wild because them adding all these extra teams, and of course I say this as a Michigan fan. With that, like Ohio State, obviously with them winning and all this other crap, they're all like on their high horse. But it's like they literally may be the worst national champion of all time.
I won't disagree with that. Ohio State fans are so annoying.
I live in Ohio, I know. And two, and a bigger point on that is like they finished 4th in the conference, not first or second or even third, 4th in the conference, and then lose to Oregon, lose to Michigan at home. Like any other time, if they lost to Michigan, as far as a Michigan team that was literally 20-point favorites against, they would have been so far out of the playoff. But because whatever, they literally moved back like 1 spot, which is wild to think about.
Mm-hmm.
And they still were like, yeah, we're national champions. It's just like, it's so watered down. Like college basketball, I get it, that you have a bazillion teams, but like, it's even just like the NBA. Speaking of the NBA, do you like the play-in game or no?
I hate that shit. That shit's stupid as fuck. Like I agree with what Trae Young said. Just the top 8 teams from each division or each conference should make the playoffs. That's it. Obviously, we know it's for more money, more ratings, more viewership, but it's stupid. The playing's dumb as fuck.
I wouldn't mind it if it was 8, 9, and 10. Like the 7, 8, 9, and 10 is dumb. I think you have, if you really want to do something, have 9 and 10 play each other, then winner that like. And I would only do that if, well, I guess sometimes it's closer enough. But 9 and 10 play each other. The winner of that plays the AFC. The AFC gets a home game, so that way they get extra revenue. And then there you go. Like, but everything else, like, well, 9 and 10 play each other, and they play for this spot. Like that's like it's just too much. And then if you really wanted to make it with something, play it for like $1 million or something.
That's still a chump change though to them.
Hey, it could pay off some child support or something.
Ant-Man.
Yeah. You want to pay off a baby mama or something? Hey, you better win this game. I bet.
Niggas hooping for them kids, bro.
Yeah, it is chump change, but like that's, and honestly, I mean, even though obviously it's still rigging, but if they had at least that kind of illusion, like I bet some people would take it a little seriously.
Oh hell yeah!
Because they don't care. Some of them, they don't care about actual rings. They care about money.
Yeah. Because I know, speaking of AB said I see Andre Iguodala hitting that rigging on Gil's Arena. Yeah, him and Evan Turner. But one of them asked, I think it might have been that same episode or whatever, where they asked him, would you rather have a ring or like $50 million? And like all the players said 50 mil, but like maybe one. It might have been Kenyon Martin. It was somebody that actually said the ring over the money. I do know the West definitely said the money.
Basically, that's like saying, would you rather be James Harden or I don't know, like Derek White? Well, Derek White makes a lot of money, so I won't say him. But like, I'm trying to think of somebody that's like has a couple rings, like we'll even say like Adam Morrison or whatever. Even though people forget because he's just one that came in my mind. Adam Morrison has 2 rings.
I remember watching a YouTube video where somebody brought that up. I think it was like Andy Hoops or something. I was like, this nigga got 2 rings. He won one with the Lakers, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he won 2. He was on the back-to-back.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's not a bad trade-off right there. You know, good college career shit, cover athlete for March Madness 2007.
Yeah.
Drafted by, what was it, the Bobcats?
Yeah, the Bobcats.
And then landed on the Lakers. I don't know if it was right after he made some trips here and there, like a journeyman.
Yeah, I think it may have been like a couple, because I think he got there like 09 and then 2010. But it's like, and there's a few different players that are like that, and it's just like, wait a minute. So you know, people say winning matters, but it's like, okay, well, this guy has rings. Do you care? No. But then it's like, you could be James Harden and make like $300 million and never even sniff a ring. Well, I mean, except for the time in OKC.
That's right. And that was when he was young. That was before he was James Harden. He was like, oh, that's James Harden to come off the bench. You probably should be starting over Cephalosha. But
oh God, yeah. And when I used to play on a side note, when I used to play the video game, right? I never had Cephalosha starting, but that's a whole nother story.
Bro, I did the same shit right before that on the load screen. You adjust your lineup. Yeah, Cephalosha, get your little weak ass out, bro. You did on it. You can't shoot. Stop playing.
Yeah, why would you even have it? Like, you know, it made no sense. So it was always like James and Westbrook, and then I don't know how I figured out how to use them better than what was it back then? Was it Billy Donovan or whatever? I figured out how to do it.
Scott Brooks.
Oh, Scott Brooks, that's right. I figured out how to do it better than him, but it's like, hey, have James run point, have Westbrook out there as a shooting guard, you know, and sure, I'll move slow ass Kendrick Perk out, but you know, whatever. Again, like, so, you know, that's how you can tell, like, some of these, I mean, obviously, games have to be rigged, because it's like, why would you not have your best lineup out there, especially during like clutch time or whatever? Like, you're running like guys who should never even be out there in a playoff game. We're not even talking about like a Tuesday night against, like, you know, the Hornets or something. We're talking about like, it's the NBA playoffs, right? Like, there's 15-year-old kids playing 2K that do better. We're going ahead.
Or like clock management, OKC, when they was playing, who did they blew that lead? Denver. They tried to play the foul game up 3 and then end up losing the game. Who else? They did some stupid shit. Boston missing like 53s in the first 2 games. It's like, if you keep missing threes, why the fuck are you shooting threes still? Obviously, lid on that bitch, but you know.
Just remember, so on average, what's name shoots like, I know in the last couple years, I don't know what it is this year, even though it's probably even more, but I know last year they used to shoot a game like 45 threes or something like that a game.
Wait, what? Who should say that again?
So the Celtics used to shoot, like, last year on average, they attempted like 45 threes a game.
That's insane.
Yeah. And how I know this is I was looking up some other stuff because I like to just compare. And like some of the other teams, they were most teams were around like 35-ish, which is still a lot for me comparative. But if you go back in the day, most teams I think the 2003 or 2004 Knicks, one of the two, they only shot like 13 threes a game as a team.
I can believe that. But yeah, that's just shit. College teams now shoot 43s a game. There was one game I was watching where Tennessee shot. It was some stupid shit. It was like 11 of 42 from three in a game. Obviously, they lost, but like 11 of 42. I'm like, motherfucker, why in the hell are you shooting this many threes? This is college, like, bro, what?
Well, I blame Steph Curry for that, one. And two, what's funny is, speaking of that, so Steph, on average, the last few years is between like 13 to 15 threes a game. And I thought that was interesting because, again, the Knicks as a team, and there were some other teams like that too back in the early 2000s, were shooting anywhere from 13 to 15. So literally, Steph Curry shoots himself as many threes as the whole like 2002 Knicks team. Like when you think about it, and I know what people say, well, basketball is rough. In 20 years where guys are shooting that much, and then the highest scoring team, again, is something you can look up too. So like the highest scoring team in like 2003 or whatever may have had like 106 or whatever. I do know in 98 it was like that. Like the highest scoring teams were like barely over 100 and or whatever. And then the lowest scoring teams were like 89, 90 points. Now every team like averages like, I think like 105 or above, even like scrub teams. So that just shows you how much basketball is done with, where every team is getting like 20, 25 points more a game because there's no defense.
Yeah, the way they changed the rules and stuff, which goes back to AB talking about the blatant rigging and stuff like that. Like how they took away hand checking. They get really picky during the playoffs about when they want a game to be physical, when they want to call everything on some ticky-tack shit. Especially like you mentioned with Allen Iverson. James Harden, you remember his thing is always getting to the free throw line, especially with the Knicks. Or not the Knicks, but the Rockets. Anytime them niggas was going to lose a series, James Harden was not getting them same foul calls.
They've switched that up the last few years of him being in the playoffs, like, and that's how you can tell, like, okay, go to the line, they're not doing it. Oh yeah, they're cooked. He ain't getting any of that. You know, normally getting like 12 free throws a game. Now he ain't getting any. Yeah.
Or shit, if he's in a game 7 period, they definitely not finna win.
You know, he'd be at the club and all types of shit.
Yeah, he don't give a fuck. He got his money. I feel like James Harden really wanted to be a rapper, but he didn't know how to rap. That's the vibe I get from James Harden. So he had to fuck up teeth, so he couldn't show his teeth like that either back then. I think he got it fixed though.
Yeah, I think he did get him fixed. What's crazy is, you know, I've met different people from like Houston and stuff. Like I know somebody who worked at I don't know if it's still there anymore. I think it may be. He had a restaurant and a bar called 13, right, in Houston. And
so
yeah, I've heard some stories about Mr. Harden, and just know in different strip clubs he does have his jersey retired.
I've heard that.
Right. And he
what
was
is a wild, safe story that you can tell for YouTube?
So James definitely is like the fly out master.
He got Future beat.
Oh yeah. Like honestly, if James Harden isn't broke before, like James is one of those guys, like one of those boxers that like probably should still be, you know, like retired or whatever, that still has to go out there and get hit in the head, or UFC fighter. That's James Harden in basketball. Like he's gonna probably have to, you know, he'll probably be playing in the big three in like, you know, 3 or 4 years just to collect the check, because his appetite for yeah, for felines is very high.
Do we have any kids?
That's a good question.
Huh. Unless it's one situation he got kids, but he paying somebody out to keep that shit quiet.
That probably is what's
Niggas
going
got a jersey to tie strip clubs and shit. I'm like, surely one of them got a nice little payday.
No, yeah, like I'm pretty sure he has like stripper kids, but what's crazy is he's paying like 40, 50K like a trip. Like respectfully, I'll sleep with him for that much. I mean, to fly him out, like you're flying people out for 40, 50K and then take care of all this stuff. Like, because this one lady, she said she had been flown out for what, a year or two, and she said, yeah, everything was paid for, and he paid her rent. And I'm like,
Nigga, what?
what are you doing? Like, I'm like, whatever you're doing, Jesus. Like, I mean,
This
you
is
can
a
start doing the numbers in your head.
NBA MVP. This is a multiple NBA All-Star, NBA MVP. Nigga got his own. What?
Yeah, 50. What's 50 times? And you know she's probably getting more. So 50 times 12 is what, like 700,000.
Yeah, that's insane.
And you're
Or
getting that just
yeah, that's crazy. Gee.
you feel what I'm saying? You're getting that just to get them going. Like what? She's putting in an hour worth of work just to get and to get that much money, and that ain't even every day. Like that's wild. But I do remember one of my favorite, and I'll try to say it without being crazy. One of my favorite James Harden stories that a lot of people don't know about, which is rent free in my head, by the way, is the one where he walked by Daryl Morey after or before a game. Have you ever heard this story in particular?
Was he on the Sixers and Moore was with the Rockets still?
He was. So they were both, I believe, with the Rockets. But what happened is, he was going to, I think it was pregame, I believe, and Harden had been out doing escapades, we'll say, and he walks by Daryl Morey and stops. And Daryl Morey stops him and looks at him and says, "Man, your beard stinks."
Damn.
Yeah, that's just the easiest way to say it. He was like, but he was basically saying, "Hey, your beard smells like punani." Like seriously, like if you hear it in a gut way, and I laugh every time I think about it because I just know, like I remember seeing it on Twitter, like in real time, because like a beat writer who basically I think they got suspended for that was like, "Oh yeah," he told him to wash his beard, and he looked like that kind of guy though. Seriously. He looked like the kind of guy who would be like, you know what I mean? Like doing the Emmanuel Acho, if you remember what Acho did.
Yeah.
Hey, which is still like even more hilarious when you figure out, of course, after the fact, what was going on. Because he kept having his fingers like this. And I'm like, I remember watching this thing, like, what is he doing that? But like, and then you hear what you hear, and you're like, oh, that's why he was doing it. He was literally just up in Miss Taylor, and now he's.
Yeah, I bet that tickle was like, does it tickle if you go down there? And that's how that shit happened. I'm willing to bet.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and what's crazy is because I'll say this, because of people I work for and work with, and this has been for the last several years, and doing different stuff and knowing people in like sports radio and stuff. Like that's why I just laugh when I watch actual games, and like some of my coworkers know this, because I'm like, yeah, I know like they're like underbelly or whatever you want to call it, allegedly, of course, if people are watching. Like, so it's just like, oh yeah, this guy's into this. It's just like, for instance, our guy, Mr. Number 9 down here, with the Bengals. If you remember when his house got broken into, he said, "Oh yeah," he wasn't there. I forget where he was, but it was like, "Oh yeah, my employee said that somebody was in the house, and it's that girl that he's went to the Met Gala with and all that." If you remember,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, wait a minute, your employee is a hot 21-year-old. Like what?
He needed a better lie than that, bro. My employee.
Yeah, who was staying at your house? Who's like a supermodel? Like, yeah, that's my employee. Yeah, sure. And that's just the way it is. Like, given circumstances, and obviously, you could have kids like Jordan, allegedly, of course, everywhere. But it's like there. And God rest his soul. But I mean, I'm pretty sure Kobe has them, LeBron, freaking all these guys. I mean, right?
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, shit, they get around, got around. I guess for the one still here.
You're in every, like, Kobe's like. Will we see some chick named, I'm trying to think of some, exotic name, like some chick named Argentina or something in like 8 years who happens to have look like, Kobe's kids out there draining threes? We probably will.
Do you think that Ant and Jimmy Butler, MJ sons, for real?
No,
you must know something the way you said that shit.
No, yeah. And I'll just say this on that. Isn't it ironic that Jordan's kids with like his wife aren't actually good at basketball? That's all I'm gonna say.
That's true. One of them, he likes playing snow. He don't really do that hooping shit. He like,
he's out there doing. Not saying you can't partake in that, but it's like none of you got even half of a superpower from Jordan. Like, that's all I'm saying. But yet Jimmy Butler, he got that dog in him. Ironically, went to Chicago, by the way, but that's a whole nother story.
That is true. He did go to Chicago.
Anthony
drafted him.
Did you ever hear the Anthony Edwards story from Jason Williams? Anybody? Y'all can comment on that if you've heard that story.
Was it like a story of how he was born or something, or?
So it was a high school all-star game. When you get a chance, look up Jason Williams, talk about it. But he basically was like, yeah, he had a starting lineup. They're out there playing at some. It was sponsored by some big company or whatever, right? So like Under Armour or something like that, I forget. And the next thing you know, he's like, dude who's running the whole, thing comes up to Jason Williams like, hey, why isn't insert name here, which was Anthony Edwards? Why isn't he? He was like, well, why aren't you playing him? He was like, he looked at him like, well, should I be playing him? And he's like, yeah, he's the number one player in the nation. And he said, oh, basically, say less. And he said he played him the rest of the game.
Okay, I do remember that. I don't know. I was thinking of the black Jason Williams.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, not the Dookie one. The Randy Moss one.
One that had a bunch of black friends growing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I just found that interesting that, of course, and Jason Williams, even though, of course, he was in NBA and stuff like that, he looks like the kind of guy who, I'm not saying he doesn't know certain things about certain things, but I will say he looks like he's oblivious to it for the most part, even though he was probably around it, and that's why he didn't really,
he I don't want to say saw the game, but he didn't play the game for real. Like, he wasn't one of them.
Yeah, he seems like one of those kind of guys who is like that. Randy does too. They're just too country and just, I'm supposed to drop a ball. Nah. And then that's why they're like, oh, wait, you actually do play when you want to. Well, we got to play around you. Like, we know, we'll make sure, if we're going to rig stuff, it'll be around you. And so him coaching Anthony Edwards and doing that, I mean, that just goes to show you how they pick those players out.
Who do you think is kind of like that currently in the NBA, if there's even any? Where it's kind of like they say, they kind of go rogue on the script type shit.
That's a good question. So I'd have to think through different teams that are like that. So I'd have to think of who really, like, it probably isn't anybody. Well, I'll say who I actually kind of think does it is Kawhi, and I think that's why they kind of just let him be at this point, right? Like,
why you think?
I think Kawhi. You said who?
I said, why do you think Kawhi is one of them?
I just think so. And his story is really weird if you actually kind of look into it, like how his dad was killed and his uncle. Like, his uncle is his handler.
I mean, his dad owned a car wash or something, and Kawhi saw his dad get slain in front of him.
Yeah, so his uncle's been his handler like the whole time. But
that
I
was
feel like
that thing with the Spurs too, wasn't it?
Yeah,
injury.
And I think, like, the older he got or whatever, and it's kind of like, hey, you're supposed to do this. We'll have you set up for this. And then Kawhi's kind of like, well. I think he definitely Hulk Hogan's himself around. That's what I like to call it. I think I may have told you where the infamous "that doesn't work for me, brother."
Mm-hmm.
Still one of the greatest lines of all time, by the way, that I still use in real life. Like, yeah, you can use it anywhere. But I think he's definitely one. I think, ironically, I feel like KD got to that point, right?
I guess when it comes to like free agent acquisition, in a sense, but
because I think KD was supposed to win more, and I don't know if he shut himself off or what happened, but I feel like he was supposed to be a bigger thing, even though he is a big thing. And Pop definitely is a handler.
Yeah, same with Bill Belichick. But I don't know, Kevin. I guess the way he won too, I think, is the reason they ain't giving no more. It's like, all right, bro, you had 2 of the easiest rings in the world to get. You joined a team that won 70-something games. Here you go. You got the MVP in OKC. Got your Finals MVP. Got your 2 rings. Gonna be a Hall of Famer. Probably ownership with the Supersonics when they come back. But yeah, that ring shit, yeah, you done. You play with Kyrie. You can get James Harden, but the ring, yeah, you done. Sorry, can't do it.
And he's a good one too. I think Kyrie definitely is on that level too. Like, especially once you start staging and doing whatever the fuck, right? Like that stuff was like, what?
Yeah, Kyrie. I don't know why I didn't think of him before anybody else, but Kyrie definitely, I get that vibe from a little bit.
So I want to mention this because I actually heard it earlier this morning from a thing that an interview that was, I guess, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, right? And ironically, you may know what I'm talking about. So I was watching Triple H talk, right, about I forget who he was talking to. I think it was Andrew Schultz, right?
Oh,
the comedian. But
yeah,
it was what he was talking about. And mind you, I watched a smaller clip of it, so I didn't watch the whole thing. But I was literally like, like, that was interesting because he was asking about like how many people you think understand the business, et cetera, et cetera. But I'll condense it, and he was saying, like, because he was talking to Sean and Taker about it, and they were both like, yeah, probably that really understand all the ins and outs, and they were like, besides Vince, probably like maybe like 8 people in the world, right? And I say that to say this. What he ended up mentioning specifically, I was like, man, I never really thought of it this way, which is basically he said, all right, so say you have these moving parts. Now you have like 8 people or 10 people you want to fight each other, but maybe not directly, but it's like, but this guy doesn't want to work with this guy and he hates this guy and they won't do business and this and that third. So now I got to rewrite this. This guy gets hurt. And I was like, damn, I didn't even think of it that way. So then I say that as far as like the NBA, and it's like, man, imagine like you got guys who are like, yeah, I don't really want to go. I don't want to let this guy go over me. So now you have to like redo something, or hey, this guy actually did get hurt, and well, we don't know what to do with this guy. So it's like a constant like
Fluid
spinning of the wheel.
fluid script more so than a stagnant or static script is what you're saying?
Yeah. So I really do believe, even though I've thought about this even before, like I actually, kind of knew it was rigged, but I always used to compare it to wrestling because I thought it was, well, firstly, Vince being the head writer was like David Stern or what's our guy, Roger Goodell or something. 1 and 2, it just seemed like a natural fit, and then because it's like, all right, you have all these teams, but if somebody does really get hurt, you got to take them out. Do you really want insert name here really winning? It's just like the Cavs. Say Darius Garland's NBA Finals champion. That doesn't really sound good, does it? So it's like you got to just bypass, and it's like, oh man, do I really want Anthony Edwards to be an NBA champion when he's out there, not seeing his kid? Now, if it was quiet, maybe, but he just put it out there, right? Or are you going to put him on commercials? I mean,
he already in commercials now. Shit.
This is true. It's just like, I just always wonder how far will they really take a guy? Because like Westbrook and Cam Newton, and there's a few others that are perfect examples of that. It's like you're super Lamar. We talk about him all the time. It's like you have all this talent, so we can market you, but it's like, Jalen Hurts, he's a part of a sorority. You feel what I'm saying? He can get the put. He even though of course he's still black, but he's like old black.
Like Daniel, he's safe.
Yeah, he's a safe black guy. Lamar, I don't know about that. Anthony Edwards, I don't know about that. But Cat, could, even though he's super zesty, that sells it nowadays.
Yeah, he's non-threatening. They don't want to threaten. Like shit, Lamar played a fucking drug dealer that shot a nigga in his first scene acting. So no. You could have been record. Yeah, no. That's not a nigga who's gonna be in the Super Bowl.
On a side note, people still think he's gonna win, LOL. But that's a whole nother story for another day.
One can hope, I guess. One can dream.
Yeah. They're like, oh yeah, well, Lamar will finally do it. Sure, I guess.
He's my favorite current player, but I've accepted the fact years ago that nigga won't win and shit. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, especially when I found out, and I think I may have sent it to you a couple years ago, when he went through his contract stuff, and they were basically like, yeah, the reason he's going through it is because, like you just mentioned, even though it's acting, like he knows real drug dealers and killers, and he hangs out with them in off season.
That was actually after the Chiefs won the Super Bowl against San Fran when they went in overtime. Yeah, I remember that because I looked up on that website and I was just like typing in different athletes and shit. I was like, interesting.
Yeah, can't have that. I think Anthony Edwards, like I said, I think eventually I think this year they'll probably get to the finals, but it's just like, I'd be almost shocked if they let them beat the Knicks if they did face each other, And if it is Knicks Pacers, I just don't think they can let the Pacers do it, just because like if the NBA wanted a high rating, it definitely would be the Knicks. And then Anthony Edwards is big enough.
It damn sure wouldn't be the Pacers. And I'll say this though, in the NBA, you can kind of get away with being a nigga and still winning a championship. It doesn't happen as much, but like Paul Pierce, that nigga got a ring. That's a nigga.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't really consider KD. You know, he wouldn't go on that lane. Curry isn't that. LeBron isn't that. Kyrie isn't that. Ain't a whole lot really in the NBA now. A lot of them, they dad played, so they grew up, you know, privileged.
Yeah,
Like,
and then especially that
he wanted to be a nigga so bad.
Especially that like late. That's why like that after Jordan era. I mean, obviously they were doing stuff with Kobe, but that kind of like middle ground era, they had to find like certain people because like Latrell Sprewells and the Iversons and different
Even
guys. They're like
Jamal and the Pacers from the early 2000s, pretty much that goddamn a whole team essentially, minus Reggie Miller.
Oh yeah, he was the only one. Like, and if you ever read about some of the stuff with them and Jermaine O'Neal and all that, I mean, hell, they had Steven Jackson out there. They were out there doing wild stuff. Like I've
one of them got hit by a
Jackson.
car. Wasn't that Tinsley or
Tinsley did? Yep.
Yeah, got hit by a car for some club shit happened.
Yeah, Indianapolis was no joke back then.
I've heard Indianapolis ain't no joke.
And I'll just say this, like, well, and then of course, one of my favorites is Allen Iverson accepting the MVP award with a do-rag and white tee on.
Ern's like, yeah, we can't. Nah, he ain't the one.
Yeah,
he's not the one we want.
Yeah, I mean, it was black culture, but NBA, you know, them white folk ain't trying to, you know, sell that.
Casual Sweater said it's goofy all the personalities the NBA make them do. Like, this guy's a no-nonsense hard worker, scrapper. This guy dresses like he's a fashion week. This guy plays hella video games. I mean, shit, it's not so much that they make them do personalities. These motherfuckers still, regardless of the NBA script, they still got their own hobbies they like to do outside of basketball. Like you mentioned, Klay Thompson with the boat. Shit, KD was rapping. He had a song with Davies before Davies was even relevant. I think LeBron and KD have a rap track together from like way back in the day.
Yeah, they do.
I heard like a snippet of it. It was trash, but shit, JaVale McGee, that niggas produce songs for like rappers and shit, like big name rappers. Like they have other shit they like to do besides basketball. It's just like they job. Like Jokic with the horses. You don't need a script for that shit. Maybe that big motherfucker just like horses.
He really does. Like Joe. Ironically, it's funny you mentioned that because Joker is one of the same guys too. Like
he is a don't give a fuck guy.
Yeah, he's just good at basketball, and you know it's in whatever it is. But he even said that, and part of how I knew Denver would never win again, by the way, is they asked that man when he came back. They're like, "So how do you?" I still remember how you feel about the season. You just won the championship, and this man said out of his mouth to the reporter, whatever. Yeah, we won a championship. I mean, that's nice, but all that did was make me stay in America longer and basically take up more of my off season.
I mean, he treat that shit like a 9 to 5 for real, bro. I've seen the memes and TikTok. That shit funny as hell, bro. He hates doing the meaty shit. He hates doing all the extra shit. And I don't blame him. If that ain't who you are, that ain't who you are. Like, it's amazing Kawhi has even got to a point. This nigga's in commercials, and we saw him smile and laugh like ever.
Yeah. He's barely there. I mean, it's just one of those, like, I guess, he probably figures that the clock is ticking. I probably got 5 more years of basketball, so if I just get it in and get it out the way now, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I kind of get
Like,
what you're
so
saying. Hold on one second. He said then they flip once they realize culture is popular, then they embrace fashion. The fashion that's more of, I guess, an agenda based thing anyway that effeminizes them. Say rap is rigged. The word wouldn't be rigged. I wouldn't necessarily say that. Or they're scripted events, yes, but rigged ain't the word. They say it's a sport. It's not really a sport.
I would say, well, obviously, like the award stuff is rigged, like, and
Yeah,
you know they
yeah.
say bots and stuff. I would say on that level, like you get
But I wouldn't.
like it's just like you know, for instance, for you, I mean, obviously, every view that either me and you get together or with you and everybody else, like B Fire and all those guys, shout out to them. You know, is a blessing and stuff like that. But you know, and I'm saying this from the heart as far as in a good way. Should you have, you know, 10, 20, 50 times as many views? Of course. But like, you know, algorithms and different stuff, you know, they make sure like, oh man, these guys are talking about real stuff. Let's bring it down. But somebody else, they may push their stuff up. You know what I mean? Just because, you know, they're a part of the in crowd.
Yeah, yeah. Because there are favoritism, sure, but I wouldn't just throw the word rigged out there like that. Like I'd say rigged is more so to like elections and sports, like a legit, I guess, competition between a team or an individual, another person with a score. With shit like rap, I guess the only things maybe the billboards is
Yeah.
their score, but even then, that's a fucking stretch, bro. But I wouldn't say rigged.
Yeah, I will say, yeah, like I said, definitely manipulated, because you know you find out, oh well, such and such worked with people or whatever, and they made sure that they got to the top or made sure they held people back. For instance, speaking of that, on a side note, look at A. Marie. I didn't realize, which looking back on it, I should have, that
Look at who?
the song A. Marie, the singer.
Hmm?
Do you remember A. Marie, the singer?
Nah, A. Marie.
Look, yeah, well, I'll let you do some homework, but look up A. Marie. She had two different songs that was big. If anybody remembers those, she had this thing called the song called "One Thing," and then she had "Why Do We Fall in Love." And the remix had Ludacris in it. That's a whole nother story, though. But she was really big in 2000, 2001, 2002, right?
Yeah, this put up some Memphis.
So
It,
it
I
should be
guess
like,
they have a song with Yo or some shit. I don't know.
yeah. So
That's
A. Marie Singer. Just look up A. Marie Singer. She's like half Asian, half black.
I think I'm looking at it. Nose ring or something.
Is she like kind of like caramel brown skin?
Yeah,
Yeah, kind of skinny.
yeah.
So she had a song. So she had, those were her two big hits, right? Like I still remember them because they were like summer anthems, whatever. But more importantly, what happened is there was a song, and I actually just found this out earlier this week. There was a song called "Work It Out," which was actually her song, and they Beyonce and her dad took it, and it's actually on the Austin Powers Gold member. It was like, you better work it out. And if you ever listen to the beat of that and to listen to the beat of One Thing and some of her other songs, and I was like, oh man, that makes perfect sense that this was her song. Beyonce recorded it, they leaked it, and then it got popular for her and got on the thing, and it was supposed to be her song, but it was basically like And that actually happened with some other people too, stealing their songs. But it was like one of those things like that's how the music industry is. Like, so I wouldn't say necessarily rigged, but definitely
It's
like,
it's a shiesty, grimy business like pro wrestling, but the word I wouldn't use is rigged. No,
yeah, yeah,
just overanalyzing and watering down the term at that point. But yeah, it's definitely controlled. That's the better word to use. Controlled.
yeah, gatekeepers, stuff like that. Yeah.
So I want to ask you, since you usually can compare like an NFL player to a certain wrestler, using today's wrestlers, who is who in the NBA?
So, oh man, that's a really great question. So I would say I'm trying to think. So I would say like Giannis would be, even though it's funny because he isn't like 20 years in like LeBron, but I would say Giannis is like Randy Orton at this point, right? Like he's a made man. He's a made man who is like, he's not necessarily, I mean, on the back nine per se, but he's getting there. And it's like, is there another title for Randy? It could be, but probably not. Same with Giannis. Giannis is going to go out there, put up, 30, 12, and 5. And just like Randy's going to go out there and put up a good match. But, that's about it for that. I would say you got Jalen Brunson, who is like, I would compare him to like I'm trying to think of somebody who is just like hard nosed. Like he's like Sami Zayn. Where it's like Jalen can be in the main event. Sami obviously has been in main event, right? He doesn't really get the respect he should, right? Because it's like, well, I mean, because he's just a hard worker. He doesn't really have super flash, but he gets the job done. He's there in the clutch, like Sami. Like when if you remember that KO match he had where they were basically killing each other.
Oh yeah, that unsanctioned match. Yeah,
it's just like that. Like Jalen Brunson's out there on the deck, putting himself through stuff. It's like what Sami said the other day, like when he was talking to Steph, like, will I ever win the big one? I want to win the big one, and I want it to be because of me. I feel like that's Jalen Brunson. I feel like he wants to win the big one with his Nova guys. And, obviously it'll be TBA for that here soon, but I think he has that in him. I would say Luka, ironically, I would say he's set.
Explain that one a little bit.
So like Luka, even though obviously Luka hasn't won a championship, but think about it, like the way the NBA is right now, they have a vision for Luka. They had to get him out of Dallas, but they had a vision for him. They had, and if you look at where Steph's at, right? Like, what is Steph doing? He's aligning himself with new people. Paul Heyman. He's aligning himself with Bron Breakker. For this new era of WWE. I feel like that's what Luka is basically, as far as for the NBA. Luka's, even though I wouldn't say Luka's necessarily the face of the NBA per se, but him. And somebody mentioned this now. They're like LeBron, even though LeBron's LeBron, they said he's number 2 now. They said Luka's number 1. And I feel like once the LeBron shadow is cast away from Luka, because Luka's still, I don't even think he's 26 yet. I think they're gonna run with him, and hell, it may be him and a 5 year from now, Cooper Flag.
White duo, man.
Yeah, You know what I mean? Like people are looking at it now, but I forget now, and it's just like that's why I said it's like Seth. It's like because if you remember the last hell, even before WrestleMania, he was telling CM Punk, and part of the reason why Sammy kept saying like, "Wait a minute, you keep talking about this vision, but it's your vision is you being all this stuff. Your vision is you being, whatever, like leading the way." And and so that's what I feel like Luca is. It's like, hey, they already gave him a test run in Dallas, and eventually it'll play out with the Lakers.
Yeah, I think so too.
And Cooper
Like
Flag is American white, so there's that.
Yeah, I think he'll get one when LeBron gone for sure.
Yeah, and then I think you got a lot of other guys. Obviously you got some older head guys that are still around. Ironically, I guess LeBron would technically be, John Cena, where he feels like he's the last real, type champion guy, where he's just going out there and he doesn't care if he does bad guy stuff or whatever. He's just out there selling merch. That's LeBron. So
selling merch. You don't give a fuck about winning.
Yeah, you don't care. Then you have obviously a lot of up and coming guys. I would say, Halliburton. He would be kind of one of those. I don't want to say the Miz. I would say, God, I'd have to think of somebody.
I forgot. He's not. His nickname is now, and he's not in WWE. But
Halliburton definitely has some like certain qualities of like a guy who could like sort of be in the main event but yet isn't there per se. I'd have to think about some of the guys who are like up and coming in a roundabout way right now, but I mean, ooh. And that's funny because I haven't compared anybody to Roman yet. I would say I don't want to say Braun Breaker because he's like bigger than Braun Breaker.
LA Knight so bad, but even then he ain't getting pushed like that. But
that's ironically that's who I think. I think LA Knight is Halliburton because he's kind of like he has a household name, but yet they don't really put. Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that because they don't really push him, but he does have a household name, but they don't push him like people know him, but they don't like.
He's not the first thought when you say like name your top NBA players. He probably ain't coming up quickly. You gotta think for a second.
Yeah, like you'd be like, oh yeah, there, Halliburton's there. And then ironically, I don't want to like Anthony Edwards hasn't been around long enough to be like CM Punk.
I'm trying to think of a young guy with a lot of charisma and personality. Jacob Fatu, maybe.
I thought about Fatu. Ironically, I could see. I mean, he's sort of like, he's sort of not like. I could see maybe like a Logan Paul sort of, right?
Talk shit. Both of them talk shit. Everybody knows them.
Yeah.
People like Anthony Edwards though. People hate Logan Paul.
Well, I mean, this is true. I mean, I'm trying to think. Hell, you could even say not who was I just thinking about that was on there? Not Jay. You could almost even say somebody like the New Day or something, right? Because he's kind of like. I mean, Ant-Man is getting a Jey Uso type style push though.
That was one of them I was thinking of, but then I was like, Jey Uso can't really cut a promo for shit by himself.
He can't. And what's crazy is like you got like I was thinking through Um, like you got Anthony Davis would be like Braun Strowman, always hurt. Where it is like, dang, like why are you always hurt and you can't, finish through? You look at some of these other teams like I would say Kate Cunningham. He seems like one of those guys who should be like next and up and coming, but nobody cares. So I can't say he would be dumb, but he definitely had.
Damian Priest. No one cares about Damian Priest.
Yeah. Hey yo, that's hilarious because he could be like Damian Priest because it's weird because Damian Priest is one of those guys where it's like if you said, well, depending on how many days, like, well, we'll say last 400 to be exact. In the last 400 days, like Damian Priest has been champion, been, in several main events, and then you would look at it now and be like, does anybody care? And everybody would be like, nah, nobody.
Damn, I had one more. I was like, one more player. I was like, shit, this motherfucker. Who would be Drew McIntyre? That's the one. Who gets hoed the most? What player gets hoed the most? And it's criminal as hell every time it happens. I agree, Mike. He should.
That's a good question.
I gotta think of someone older now who been hoed a lot.
Where it's like, I will say, if I had to go if I had to go in the last 15 years, I would say it would be Carmelo. If I had to go back,
generationally hoed. Yes.
Because Carmelo would have his headband knocked off, nobody cared.
And they try to blackball his ass out the league too.
Yeah. It's just like Drew, and it's like, and then when he would speak up and be like, talk about other stuff, it almost felt like the heat was more on him. And on the side of that, by the way, everybody always remember this. David, one of my favorite, David Stern told somebody something. Remember, Carmelo said the NBA was the feds because he said they knew everything I did and my friends did.
Yeah, he's talking about they know your social security number, they know your history, all your medical records, obviously, as they should. They know what you did in kindergarten, what class, all this other super personal shit that you wouldn't even imagine thinking they would know.
Yeah. That's what happens when you're about to sign for, X amount of millions of dollars. But even KG said, like, they try to ways to get that money back because I think 10%, I forget that he said they paid dues. So 10% of their money goes back to dues. And then KG talked about how the fines started going up when they started making over 100 million. He said, yeah, then they start fining you for like, instead of like insert name here, it would be like, 100,000, 200,000. Yeah, because they would recoup that money back. So,
Well, and of course, now you can get called for a tech for looking at somebody. Just, I dunk and I stare, that's a tech somehow. I ain't say nothing wrong. I could barely shrug my shoulders and they get that money that way too. Especially now they're getting paid.
But yeah, I would say, like I was saying earlier, I believe the guy who's John Cena is definitely like LeBron because he sells merch. He just doesn't care. He has whatever he says, whatever, does whatever, and obviously without the title as far as LeBron, that's definitely what he's been doing the last 3 years. Just like, look at me, look, I sell merch. Hey, look at me. I don't really. I mean, does he care about a championship? No, he's just trying to keep it. Hell, even his sons being in the league is nepotism for him. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Like he
I
doesn't
always
really
love
give a fuck about him.
too. He said he was gonna ruin wrestling. LeBron James helped ruin the NBA.
No, definitely. He ruined it. He ruined the NBA like years ago, and
I would say Adam Silver too. Yeah, I say
yeah,
LeBron, Adam Silver, and I'm trying to think. I don't want to say the Warriors as a whole, even though the Rockets copied the Warriors, and then everybody copied the Rockets because they saw the Rockets was hanging with them and shit. Daryl Morey, I'm gonna blame him, motherfucker with
I mean,
analytics and shit.
I want to say if we even go back further, we could blame Mike D'Antoni.
They weren't even putting up the points they putting up now with that 7-second offense. Like that pace then would be last as shit now. I think they weren't even averaging. They might have averaged barely over 100 points, if even that. So I don't really blame him as much because it's not like a lot of teams. Well, yeah, he did coach the Rockets. I forgot. Damn, he did coach the Rockets. I still say Morey though, because he got more power than D'Antoni would.
Yeah, the way they did everything, with D'Antoni, and then I mean I get it, the spread the floor stuff, but it's just like watching that game tonight. I mean, it was. I mean, what a shit show! Like, I'm not used to the NBA being all right. You're up 20, then you're down almost 20. Like, how is that even possible?
It don't make sense. And Jokic hit like the most magnetic shit I've ever seen. Nigga had like turned around, fade away. His shot be all the way up here. Shot that bitch. And the angle, you can see that bitch hooked.
Hey, the sliders be up.
No, the Knicks had the sliders up last night though. Them last couple minutes of the game, they couldn't miss shit.
Yeah, I mean, and what's wild is again, it's very, very, very rare for it to be on our side. So, and don't get me wrong, I'm not one of those guys who don't be like, oh, it's rigged because it's against us. No, I know it's on every side, but like that's how rare it's been in my lifetime. Like, you're like, wait a minute, the Knicks have like sliders up, like. This is weird.
Man. Tennessee football shit. The year we beat Alabama for 2022. I was like, ain't no way we won that shit, bro. Ain't no fucking we winning games like this, bro. We beat Alabama, Nick. With Nick Saban. What?
Yeah. I remember that. Is that when they took the goalpost into the river?
Yeah, for the first time since like the 90s. Shit, it might have been 2002.
Yeah.
They carried that bitch all the way from Neyland, all the way through the strip, all the way to Tennessee. That's a fucking far ass. That's like over a mile. Carried a heavy ass goalpost. Granted, there's a bunch of people doing it, and the police escorted them to do so.
Yeah, that part isn't said because they could have shut that shit down if they wanted to.
But I guess the biggest thing is it's a college-driven city, so when Tennessee does good in anything, everybody's happy. Cops, it don't matter. They probably grew up in Knoxville, so they was raised Tennessee fans, so it gets passed down.
The last couple of times I've been in Knoxville, it was always like love from at least what I've seen, and like it's wild to see how the city is when Tennessee is good, and I mean, obviously Alabama, they've had success for the last 18, 20 years, so they have it. But like a place like Tennessee is probably like Ann Arbor, where they hadn't had success for a minute. I mean, it was medium, but like the last, maybe not necessarily this past year, but the last 4 years before that, it's like, wait, you're going to the playoffs and beating Ohio State and all this stuff. Like the campus is just going, and tuition. Hell, Colorado same way, just nothing but cash money. Like, and that's the one thing to bring this out about like these games and stuff like that is just so obviously it's so much money for the uh, 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 rigged company, NBA, NFL, whatever, but it's so much money off the rigging for like sports bars and restaurants and selling merchandise. Like they really have it so ingrained in everybody. It's almost like a cult you can't get out of.
Yeah. Well, I always think of that Matthew McConaughey commercial they had this year about like how all football is advertised to get you to buy food and shit.
Oh yeah.
More times than not, what are you doing if you're watching the game? You probably eating something, probably drinking something, doing something like that. So they not wrong. This game is sponsored by Ultra.
Yeah, I remember when he said, look, it's Rice, and then there was Jerry Rice, and then there was somebody else, right?
Mm-hmm. I forgot who the other person was.
Yeah, it was all like food stuff.
Oh my gosh, who was it? It was Jerry Rice and somebody else. Damn. I can't think who it was. It'll come back to me after the stream though.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, how people don't see it. I guess you could say, like, how they don't see rigging. And my thing is like, not saying you can't, you can't be a part of like the league or leagues or have fun watching, whatever it is. But it's just like, for somebody, it's just like when people say, again, comparing it to wrestling, well, it's scripted and blah, 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 blah. And how do you like it? Like, do you watch anime and be like, oh man, this is 100% real?
Exactly.
And Christian McCaffrey's in it. I'm looking it up right now.
Christian McCaffrey's what?
I think Christian McCaffrey's in the commercial.
Yeah, he is. That's right.
Yeah, I forget who else is in it, but yeah, it's just one of those things. Like people watch anime, people watch soap operas, or whoever else, oh yeah, like they'll be talking about Fridays, or other movies. Like, man, such and such and that, or like Day Day and this. It's like Day Day isn't a real person, right? Like he's a fake person.
Yeah, it's like niggas Mike Epps, bro.
Yeah, like that's his real, that's his real name or whatever. But like wrestling gets talked about forever, and then with the NBA and NFL, it's like it's just every season literally is a new season. It's a way to jig people out. It's a way to get revenues up. Hell, they even said, speaking of which, it'll be $1,500 if you had got all the sports packages for the NFL this year.
You mean like all the televised shit, like the Sunday ticket and all Red Zone and all that shit?
Peacock, all that.
OKC up 3-2, 112-105.
So that's wild, man. Like remember they used to be like, don't well, speaking of jig, that's one of the biggest ones of the last like 10 years. Oh yeah, you can cut the cord to get this streaming service. Now you have to have 85 streaming services. It's basically cable.
There's a way around that. That's all I'll say.
I may know what you're talking about.
What was that code name Derek called that shit? Something West. I forgot what he
Yeah,
said, but you know what I'm saying.
yeah,
Something West.
yeah.
I'm
And I'll just say
Adam West.
this:
Adam
if
West. Oh,
if you uh well, how can I say? If I pee freely on TV, just know if you pee, but I pee, then you can get a deal and you can cut that shit in like, and all you need is Wi-Fi. That's it.
that's true.
Yeah. And shout out to all these people. Like, I will say, it's just like big fights. If I'm not on something like that, um, the best way to do is if you're on Bookface, right, and you're going through there, go through the TV icon, then click whatever it is. So like if it's a fight, so like Canelo fighting, just type in Canelo live and then wait for it'll be somebody. Don't go to the ones that actually have people streaming like how you're streaming now. Don't go to that. Go to the ones that are in real time where somebody, and even though this is going to sound terrible, a lot of Hispanics, they will stream fights and I mean, you don't really have to do with wrestling anymore too much because it's on Peacock and all that. But definitely with fights and UFC and stuff like that, and they'll like put their phone up or their camera up right on the TV, and you can just watch. If you don't care about commentary or watching commentary in Spanish, you can watch whole fight nights for free. That's all I'm gonna say.
And we're gonna put a
So,
pin on it for that one. What are you finna say real quick?
no, I was just gonna say that's one of the things I learned a few years ago because I remember I was trying to actually buy a fight and it was just so messed up that I got frustrated and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna look and see if whoever had it, and then it was like literally, and it wasn't even people I knew, like four different like Hispanics. It was like they're having fight parties and yeah, and I was like sending it to my hell. Some of my family was actually watching this. By the way, what's up to y'all? I was sending it to them like, hey, look, just don't worry about commentary or listen in Spanish. But there you go. Hell, LeBron. Quick side note: LeBron, this dude is so. Even though he's worth a freaking $1 billion, he's out there streaming allegedly.
All alleged. All
Yeah,
alleged.
yeah. But I have one last thing on that note too. Did you ever hear that they asked who was like the cheapest player and like everybody that has known LeBron says LeBron.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Streaming illegal stuff. One time, he bet somebody who probably pretty needed. It was something like bag handler or something on the team. He bet him $200 for something. The dude lost. The dude won, and LeBron still didn't pay him $200. Like LeBron, you have that. Like you made that literally just waking up to go to the bathroom, and you didn't give it to him. But they're like, yeah, he does all types of penny pinching stuff. And I just have to say, I mean, if there isn't a reason to hate him for flopping, that's definitely a reason to hate him because it's like you're so rich, but you won't like spend money. But that's it.
So yeah, we're gonna put a pin right there. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Shout out to Ian, the homie. Definitely gonna have to link up for some wrestling streams, get caught up on some stuff because a lot of shit that happened. But until then, y'all be safe. Y'all be blessed. We out.